Hey there, welcome to Mad Mel's Mic. Thanks for joining me. My name is Melissa, and this is a podcast all about me, about my life with PTSD, about my life with a husband and kids and friends and everything in between. Thanks for tuning in. Hey there, everybody, and welcome to Mad Mel's Mic. Thanks for joining me. Just quickly before we get started, I am still currently in hospital and things are progressing, for want of a better word, but nonetheless, let's get this episode started. Welcome to episode 20. So thanks again for joining me on episode 20. As I mentioned in the little intro, I'm still in hospital, but life goes on. Yes, I'm having treatment, but this podcast is about me and my life, and it's not going to be true to myself or any of my listeners if I pretend everything's happy and things like that. So I just wanted to start this week and chat about a mate who I used to work with in Walgett. Her name's Rosie, and like myself, she's been diagnosed with PTSD, and she is an incredible human. And I was actually interviewed on her podcast a couple of weeks ago, also while I was in hospital, and it's called Triumph Beyond Trauma. So definitely jump on your podcast platform and have a look at it. She does amazing work. She also has an amazing company by the name of Tactical Yoga Australia, where she offers first responders and veterans and frontline workers how we can use yoga in a mindful way. So I'll chuck some links up in my show notes in regards to her website and podcast and things like that. So she also does a first responder mental wellness program, and it's a 12-week program that you do online. So definitely jump on and have a look and check it out. It was amazing to catch up with her in the podcast, and just two girls having a chat about life, and it was really, really nice to catch up with her. So the song of the week this week is one that I've given to I'm going to call him my frenemy, Matt. I know I've spoken about him before. He sends me lots of things, as I know I've previously mentioned, but this song that he sent me is called I'm So Proud of You by Anne Vargas. So have a listen.
Seeing you come alive, and I am amazed at how you're growing, how you're changing. It's so inspiring to me. I've seen you grow, I've seen you change, I've seen you push through, I've seen you be brave, and I just want to say that I'm so proud.
I know I've spoken about it many times, but this journey that I'm on, this roller coaster with PTSD and so many other people, is hard work, and I think it's reassuring and comforting to get messages like that with songs. And it's just such a lovely, beautiful song with the one message is that, yes, it's hard, but we're getting there. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed that song. Last week I know I spoke about me coming off the current antidepressants I was in, and I sort of touched on it briefly about the side effects, but I wanted to delve a little bit deeper into what the actual physical side effects are of coming off this medication. And I was on the highest strength of this particular antidepressant, and I'm just going to say right off the bat, after coming off it for 2 weeks, I can humbly say that antidepressants do work. And what I've been left with as a result of no antidepressants, or very, very minimal antidepressants, is that I'm a mess. So I guess the first thing I noticed coming off the meds, I think probably when I reduced from 120 milligrams to 90 milligrams, like the second day I was so agitated, and my and most people know that when you're on, well, when you've got PTSD, your tolerance levels are very, very small. But throw in taking away the antidepressants, I could not handle anything. I was just snappy, and somebody look at me the wrong way, and I just want to punch them in the throat. I'm happy to say that during this process, I haven't punched anybody in the throat, so I'm going to take that as a win. But just the agitation is just insane. Like, it's just something that I can't fathom at all. And one of the other side effects is my clearly was sad, and there was no way to get myself out of that slump. And I think it was a really good lesson for myself to go, yeah, like, I knew subconsciously that the medications were doing what they needed to be doing, but when you strip it all away and you're left, and don't get me wrong, I was still having TMS, which helps with my depression and my anxiety, and I was still on a very small dose of an antidepressant in the evening, so I wasn't ever baseline, but just coming off that for the 2 weeks, I don't want to go back to that. Like, it's just hard, really, really hard, just having no motivation and no energy and no drive to do anything. And that's me being in hospital when I do it, and there's not a lot of anything to do while I'm here. But I get involved in paint by numbers and Lego, and I just didn't even have the capacity to even look at that. So yes, I can confidently say, without a doubt in my mind, that these antidepressants were doing their job. And I think I just found the right combination of antidepressants along with TMS that it works. So I have started on the new meds, but I want to chat about that in a little bit. But another thing that has been a big side effect for me coming off these antidepressants was the constant upset stomach and diarrhea. And I know this is a shitty topic, pun intended, but I think it's important for people to know and understand what it looks like for me coming off these meds. So I went into town on a Saturday with two of my good mates in here, and we had lunch, and I just had a mad hankering for a couple of donuts and a flag shake from Donut King. Yes, I know. It's the small things. Anyway, so I ate it and enjoyed it, and it just went straight through me. I was on the shitter before you knew it. Thought, oh, that didn't sit very well in me, but didn't think too much of it. And then Matt messaged me on a Sunday saying, you feel like a frappe? And yes, I do. I feel like a frappe. It is my weakness. So we all went on an excursion and sat down at Macca's and had our frappe. And look, most times that I travel, and I travel a fair bit, I always get a frappe, and I've never had any issues with my guts, but that went through me as well. I'm thinking, oh, this is shit. Like, not well. I wonder what's going on. And then the next day, everything I ate just went straight through me. So I've had wee bum for about a week and a half, and it's just so frustrating. Like, to think that this one little medication has such a massive side effect when you're coming off it. And I'm so glad and so blessed that I was able to do this in a controlled environment, and that if shit hits the fan, that there was no pun intended there, I've got the help that's needed. So I am very, very blessed to be doing this here, and everybody gets it. Like, if you hide for a day, like, there's no judgment from anybody because we're all in the same boat. But I've started the new antidepressants. It's like anything, you got to start slow and work your way up. So I am on a small dose in the morning, and I started that yesterday, which was the 19th of July. I can't believe it's July already. People are already talking about Christmas. Cool, send help. Anyway, and then I'm on bit of a stronger dose in the evening, and I haven't had any troubles with falling asleep for years. Like whether I've been on specific sleeping meds or the marijuana oil, the medicinal marijuana oil that I'm on as well, I haven't had any issues with sleep. But last night when I went to bed, I was reading as I normally do. I'm actually reading a self-help book by the name of Let Them, but I plan on discussing that in one of my upcoming episodes. Um, so I just like my body was exhausted. My body knew it was time to sleep, and I'm laying in bed, but my brain was just manic. Like it was just frantic and would not slow down. And I haven't had that issue of not being able to go to sleep for probably close to 2 years. So it was sort of like, this is really weird. Like I've never had these issues before. And now, is it because of the medication? But look, I'll keep at it. And when I see my psychiatrist again, I'll certainly let him know about where we're up to. And I also haven't had dreams or nightmares, particularly since I've been on different types of medication in the evening that helps that. But last night, again, I was just having some whacked out dreams, and not specifically police related, but just weird ass dreams. And I'm going like, for me, the only thing that's changed is that antidepressant. But like anything, I think you have to give things time and see how it settles in your body. So I'll certainly give it some time. I should be seeing the psychiatrist on Monday, which is tomorrow, and hopefully he can shed some insight into what's happening and whether or not it should be having that effect. But I know when I spoke to him on Friday in regards to the new antidepressants, he said that this one you take it in the evening and it does, and it can have a sedative effect. And clearly that didn't help with me last night. So we'll just watch this space and just take one day at a time and see what happens from there. But in terms of the week that was, look, coming off these meds, I've had no motivation for anything, and I always come into hospital with the best intentions of walking and swimming and things like that. But I've just found it far too difficult. My body is just lethargic and just so tired. So I've just been doing the bare minimum. But that's what this place is for, and getting the help that we need. So look, I'm fortunate, as I said before, that I am here and I am able to do this in a controlled environment. So last week I discussed the different agencies and organisations and people that come into the ward and just there to support us. And I know that I spoke about Alice Shaw from Signal 2 last week and just briefly went over it. And look, my brain doesn't have capacity at the moment to retain information and I forget things very easily, but I'm excited to share that next week Alice will be joining me to explain herself what Signal 2 can offer us as current serving police or discharge police. So I look forward to having her on. Hopefully we can have a couple of giggles as well. And as I do every week, I'm going to finish with the thought of the week. And look, I apologise if I've already said this in a previous episode, but it's from a book that one of the beautiful nurses gave me on my very first day here. And the thought is, what's the bravest thing you've ever said? Asked the boy. Help, said the horse. So just remember, as I've always said, that this journey that we are on with our PTSD is not something that somebody else can fix for us. It's something that we need to put the effort in, and just taking it one day at a time and making yourself the best version of yourself. Because I know that I have said this previously, that you can't help others until you help yourself. So let's finish this episode on that thought and ask for help when you need it. Have a good week, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And check out what different platforms I'm on, because that's pretty exciting as well. And again, have a good week and be kind to yourself. Thanks for tuning in to Mad Mel's Mic. I'm Melissa Smith, and I hope you've enjoyed listening. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram, and don't forget to like and follow. Have a great week, and don't forget to be kind to yourself.